Welcome, everybody, to the If I May podcast. This is Kyle, and I have no friends this week, but I do have two brothers, Kody and Kollen here. They're my brothers. They were kind enough to step in while Nick and Brent are out sitting in the woods or whatever they're doing. So we're going to, meanwhile, be talking about whatever we want while interrupting as politely as possible, but maybe not because we're brothers. So we'll find out. So, Kollen.
Hey, I'm Kyle.
It's Kollen.
I went to the same elementary school, middle school, and high school as my favorite brother.
Wait, what?
I went to the same elementary school, middle school, and high school as my brother.
Oh, yep, that's a fact. And then the other one over there in the middle is Kody. What up, Kody?
Hey guys, how's it going? My name's Kody, and something interesting about me is I'm a first-year teacher this year.
Aww, so cute.
I know.
Just graduated. Yeah,
just
so Kody just graduated from the colleges, so he's a teacher now. And then Kollen, he's in the colleges, in the process.
Yeah.
So what do you got?
I'm
if
going
I may.
for...
Oh,
All
Kody
right,
said
go.
if I may, so he's up.
If I may, Colin and I went to the best college around, UW-Oshkosh, which, as we all know, is the greatest college. If you didn't go to UW-Oshkosh, you're just a scrub.
Or you're an engineer.
Hey, if I may,
both of us combined, Kody.
if I may, Oshkosh has other things like teaching that we're great at. So that's pretty great. We do have an engineering program too. It's just not as good.
Is it a full engineering
we
program?
barely have an engineering program. It's not well known yet, but it'll get there.
Didn't
someday.
they have like 5 people graduate from that last year, and they were like, "Oh, it's such a big deal," and it's not. I don't know. Whatever.
I'm pretty sure more people got pushed to go into, like a college of letters and science degree than engineering.
I am currently in that college, and I hear nothing about anything related to engineering, so I'm pretty sure that's long gone.
That could be.
It was there and it's gone. I don't know.
It had its stint.
We can check the website. So there you go. All the people's out there, check the UW-Oshkosh website. Let us know. We don't even know.
I don't. It's been years since I graduated, guys.
So one thing we all have in common, besides the fact that we are brothers and came out of the same mother and father, is that we all attended and worked at the same camp. So I thought it might be funny to go around and kind of talk about a camp story that you have, that fun time you had at camp. Obviously, we don't want to necessarily say the name of the camp because we're probably going to say things that we did at the camp that might not have been Boy Scouty per se, but we had definitely some fun times. Does anybody want to go first?
Yeah, I can start things off.
All right.
Being the wild adventurer that I am, one time at the camp, we played a pretty heated game of Truth or Dare, and
oh boy,
yeah, as we know, that can get pretty great. I mean, you start off casually with some truths and maybe an occasional risky dare. Nothing too extreme at first, but as the night progresses, the dares get more and more extreme. And one of the dares that I actually dared to one of my coworkers was to go outside and just streak around the entire camp, like do a lap around camp.
Oh, so you dared somebody
streaking.
to do this?
I dared somebody to do this. This dare was that the dude said no, so I'm like, fuck it, I'm gonna run around and streak and do your dare for you.
So you proposed this dare.
Yeah, and he said no. He chickened out on me, majorly. So
Well,
I'm like, okay.
What was the
I'll
guy's
go.
first name? Do I know him?
No, you wouldn't know him.
Oh, it was after my time?
After your time.
Oh.
Well, technically during your time, but not exactly.
What?
Okay, so I worked at 2 camps. So this is technically a story in my younger years, because by the time I got to the camp that we're referring to, I had to kind of be a role model. And at the time, I certainly was not a role model.
Yeah, right, the story I got's also from my younger years at camp. Once you get to a certain point, number one, that stuff's just not quite as fun anymore. But number two, you get judged hard if
hardcore.
Oh yeah.
And now thinking about it, I probably shouldn't have leaded with, "Hey guys, I'm a teacher." But hey, in my younger years, I streaked around.
If you see a teacher streaking around the school,
no.
Kody. Good start.
These were my teen years, guys. I was wild back then. Not
wild.
As adventurous anymore. Wild. Your typical 14-year-old stupid shit that you do. Was this your CIT year? No, my CIT year I had no balls, so I didn't do anything crazy my CIT year except try to blend in. Because I thought I was like top notch coming in, and then immediately the staff just put me in my place.
So I will admit, I've never been streaking, so I have questions. Question number one: would you do it again? Like, if you know nobody was going to see you, would you run in the nude again?
That is such a depends on the time and place kind of question.
Well, let's say you own yourself your own mini mansion with a workout room, and you have a treadmill in your own personal house workout room. Nobody's ever going to see you. Would you? I guess my main question is running naked a good experience, or would you pass on that?
It's at the time it was quite. It felt pretty good. You get a nice breeze, and it really wasn't bad. And on a full-on sprint.
I mean, there's no chafing, right? Like
no chafing, no chafing at all.
Yeah, because it's instantly dried.
Exactly. So yeah, it was an interesting experience. As far as would I do that again with everything that I've got going on me, like I can see something like in the privacy of my own home. Would I just like make mac and cheese in the nude? Probably. I could see if it was just me there doing it. No roommates, nothing to worry about. Sure, I'd let it all hang out. But as far as in public now, not a good idea. Just with everything that's going for me now, I can't exactly interview for a job and say, "Yo, how's it going? I streak."
Oh, you're that one
It just doesn't work like that.
You're a streaker. Colin is looking more and more scarred the longer we talk about this.
I know. We should probably change the subject before, So that was probably one of the craziest things that I've done when in my youth. There have definitely been other things that I've done that have been just as crazy, but that's definitely been one of the big ones.
See, like with the whole, I think I said it on an earlier episode, but like the whole thing about like even like skinny dipping, I'd be so paranoid that somebody's just going to take all your clothes, and then the moment you get back, you're just screwed.
If I may, you really do need to know the people that you're with. Be able to trust
the people
them
at the camp I know would potentially steal all the clothes.
Yeah. The good thing about my adventure was it happened very close to midnight, so everybody was asleep, and we really didn't get, like, I would say terribly close to any places that we knew campers would be at. So we didn't, like, deliberately streak through a campsite.
Oh, wait. You just said we. So you weren't alone in this venture?
Okay. So to add on to the story, so I tell the guy he's kind of a chicken. He chickened out of it. I said, all right, I'll go. And then the other guys that I'm with say, screw it, we'll go too. So, there's probably about a group of 3 or 4 of us that just took a lap. It was kind of funny because we were in a cabin at the time, and we had most of the cabin involved. And I think just about everybody from the cabin did it except for the guy that we originally dared.
he wasn't working at the camp the next year.
It was kind of funny.
You're not a true bro unless you go streaking with us.
It was pretty great. It was like a pack mentality at that point where we're like, we're just going to go for it. And what happens after that. But hey, it all worked out.
I will say before we go on to Kollen's story, I like how you two semi-dressed up for this. Cody, I'm sure that's just what you wore to work. For me, this is what I wore to work, just a NASA t-shirt. And Kollen, you definitely dressed up because there's no way you look that good normally. You typically.
I actually do wear this every day.
Yeah, every day. God. You wear that every day. That's kind of gross.
Yeah, this specific one.
he's got the comb over going. He's looking sharp. Look at him. You know, Cody, I think you'll agree. The moment Kollen got a girlfriend, Kollen's smell and hygiene and cleanliness went way up. Like, it was night and day.
If I may, I think that you definitely brought out some great qualities in him.
Or taught him. I don't know. One of the two. But it's much better now.
Yeah, I don't know what your girlfriends are doing.
What? I don't have a girlfriend.
What your girlfriends are doing.
He has a wife. Oh, sorry.
I got a wife.
If I may, he has a wife.
I got a wife, and Cody's got a fiance. We don't have girlfriends.
And if I may, our rooms are both atrocious. So obviously that didn't work
Kyle's room isn't too bad. Look at your room, though. Your room's... Anyhow, Cody's in my old room. That's the room that has a poop stain in the middle of the floor.
Didn't know that one.
Listen to like 1 or 2 podcasts ago.
I heard that one. I just wanted not to tell Cody because I figured you didn't hear that one.
Yeah, there's a poop stain in the middle of that floor.
If I may.
Mom listened to that podcast. She's like, I looked. I didn't see it. I'm like, oh, it's there. I'll show you. I was a little guy, so it's a little poop. Okay, Kollen.
If I may, I don't think Mom will look at me the same way again after this podcast.
Yeah, no, you just screwed yourself. Mom definitely listens to this podcast.
I'm done.
Yeah, you're done.
Chat saved me.
She's going to be like,
just tell my mom that I'm actually not that bad. Okay.
All right, Kollen, what do you got? Sorry.
I actually think I want to wait. I think you should go
You want me to go first?
And I should end it.
Okay,
yeah.
So my story is I didn't get pulled in. I kind of nosed my way in to be participating in the creation or the attempt at creating alcohol in the trading post. So I don't know. It was like 2 or 3 of the older guys at the camp at the time. It was my first year working at the camp, and I was walking past the trading post back from one of the campfires, and I saw the lights were on. I'm like, trading post definitely should not be open right now. And then I like knocked on the door. And they like, sneakily like looked out and they're like, oh, it's Kyle. He's like, if you're in, you're in. If you're out, walk away now. I'm like, sure, I'm in. Like, I don't know what's going on, but I want in. So I walk in and I find these guys. They have a huge gallon jug of apple juice. They have yeast and sugar on the counter. And they have like 3 or 4 condoms. Okay. So for those that might not know about making alcohol is oxygen for alcohol is very bad. So the plan was to take apple juice, add some sugar, add some yeast. They had to ask the business manager at the time to buy them some yeast. And I don't know what they made up for a reason, but the business manager bought them yeast. And their plan was to mix this yeast in. They didn't know how much. So, half the thing, whatever. They mixed it all together. They drank some of the apple juice, put in some sugar, put in the yeast, mixed it all together, put a condom over the top to seal the air out, and then like taped around it because the condom will expand because as alcohol ferments, it's going to release gas, and so it's going to expand the condom and be protected from oxygen. And their plan was to put it up in the trading post roof. There's like the shopping area, and then above that, like I guess in the attic, there's like a little walk space that is used for like storage of random junk. But their plan was to throw it up there and kind of hide it up there, and then it would have a little home while it fermented for the rest of the camping season or whatever, and then they'd drink it at the end and see what happens, I guess. Well, I'm just standing there watching, essentially, and then one of the older guys goes up, and he's going to put the thing up there, when all of a sudden, he smashes through the ceiling of the trading post, because he stepped in the wrong spot, and literally like broke right through the ceiling. He drops the vat of alcohol, it hits the ground, explodes everywhere. So there's like orange juice, apple juice, sugar, yeast mix everywhere. I'm just like, I'm out. So I like go to leave. Like, no. Once you're in, you're in. And I'm like, I saw nothing. I am out. I did not help with this. I was just witness to it, and I will not say. I won't say shit. And I'm out. Like, I'm not. I didn't see anything. They're like, if you talk, I was like, nope. I'm good. Like, I'm not that kind of guy. So yeah, I just bailed, and yeah, they're like, oh, way to leave us with the mess. Like the next day, they're like, way to leave us with the mess. I was like, I didn't help make that mess. I was just witness to it. But that was the time that I witnessed / semi-participated in people trying to, some 15, 16-year-olds attempting to make alcohol at a summer camp.
If I may, that story is still told today.
Is it
it's
really?
It's the thing of legend. It is the thing of legend, yes.
Yeah, Kody and Kollen still work at that camp.
Yep.
Yes. So I have heard that one before. I did not know all the juicy details behind it, but yeah, I heard about that.
They were able to find a new, because it was just like the tiles that go up in the ceiling. They were able to find a new one and replace it. But if you look in that area, the one they replaced it with is not the best one. So it's actually, when you go through the door, it's directly in line with the door up, and it's like about halfway through the trading post. About where that, you know where the catwalk is above?
Yep.
Yeah, so they stepped off the end of that. So it's like the end tile of where that catwalk is. There's still like a hole in the corner of the crappy tile they replaced the tile with. They completely fell through. And yeah, and they were ending up they were taking the mop bucket from downstairs and like mopping everything up, and it was still sticky the next day. And they was like, "Why is the floor sticky?" And it was like, "Oh, I'll mop it. Some kid spilt a soda."
Yep. Classic.
Yeah.
If I may, I think what the majority of the younger staff get out of that story is that someone fell through the roof of the trading post. I think that made more headway than what they were making.
Dude, that was in like 2006. So that's pretty legit that story
told.
still stays.
That story is still around.
I heard later on that they hid it up in the ranges in one of those cabinets. They had redone it, and they hid it in one of those cabinets, and they tried it, but they like left it over winter, so it was completely crap. Like it was no good. They left it over winter, and it just didn't work. But they tried it, and they said it maybe tasted like alcohol, but mostly tasted like crap. Like it just didn't taste.
Yeah, from
like anything good.
What I heard, they were able to get a little bit of it, but it didn't taste well.
No, it was really bad.
Well, for that matter, it was pretty bad.
Yeah.
So the experiment was completely shot.
Colin, what do you got?
That was pretty good.
Well, this will be my 6th summer coming up. And
Damn, you already passed your high 5 year.
Yeah, no, I've done some interesting stuff. I mean, at first when we were starting this, I know we decided on like memories, and at the time I was thinking nice memories, not like stupid stuff. So like I have some stuff there, and I can talk about that after. But I'm sure everyone wants to hear the interesting things. I have a couple different ones. So the first one is just a classic. A lot of people who go there know it, and it was my CIT year. My very first year at camp, didn't know anybody, was like, I have no idea what the heck I'm doing here. It was something I kind of wanted to do, try out, be a staff member, see what happens. And like the first day of staff week, I'm tasked with going into the waterfront and helping them clean the boating boats. And so I'm down there. They gave me like this soap bucket, and they gave me the sponge, and I was like just kind of taking the bleach and everything and trying to get all the scuffs and mold and stuff off the boats, make it look really nice and pretty. And eventually, we're like running out of water, and so we just had a bucket. It was one of those nice little brown pails, and I just kind of looked at it, and I was like, you know what? Let's make a memory. I mean, it was kind of dumb. I figured it would not be like super good. I mean, these guys are all older than me. It's not going to actually be funny at all. But like, I took the bucket, I dumped it in the lake, and I was like, hey guys, you want to see a magic trick? And they were like, sure. Like, they're all skeptical. Like, I'm just a 14-year-old kid. They were like, all right, what the heck is he doing there? He's just classic CIT right now. And I just do it. And I was going to do the whole, like, Newton's Law of Motion, like,
try to, like,
around.
swing the bucket all the way around without anything spilling thing?
Like that, without spilling anything. And I did this part, and then right when it got to the front, the handle of the bucket just snapped. The bucket went flying, sprayed water everywhere, falls into the lake, and I'm just sitting here just scared out of my mind, like, oh my God, this is so embarrassing, and like, how do I pull this off? How do I pull this off? And what I did was I just like stared at the handle, stared at the bucket, stared at the handle, stared at the bucket, dropped the handle, magic. Ever since then, that's been the story.
I made the bucket disappear right off the handle.
But I was just like, that was not when I was going at all. And the waterfront director was like, you owe me a bucket. And I still haven't gotten the bucket, but yeah, just handle. I was just going to do the whole 360 thing and be like, magic. And then I didn't really know what I was doing. And then
was that Dylan at the time, waterfront director?
Yeah, that was Dylan.
Yeah.
That was Dylan.
We had Dylan on one of the 10 episodes ago or so. Yeah, he used to work at the camp as well as the waterfront director for like 2 years.
But I mean, there's some better ones. One thing. So this was, we usually take scouts down, and it was at a time when the nature director was there. I actually haven't told this one to anyone because it was just a me and him thing. And what happened was, so like it was me, and then it was like him, then me, then all the scouts, and like had my assistants throughout, just like pointing things out as they were walking through the tour in case someone didn't hear anything. And we got to the end of the tour, and there was the cool, crazy little pulling out the bog stick and everything. And then we were having them all go backwards. And I was like, all right. And I was like leading them back. And I was behind, waiting for everyone to go and everything. And I'm walking. And all of a sudden, the nature director just like taps my shoulder. And he's like, hey, come here. And I'm like, what? What's up? And like, I just stay back for a bit. And the adults and kids are going up. And I was like, what's going on? And he's like, all right, I got something amazing to show you. You know how we always like tell them when we jump and then there's the ripple effect and everything? And I'm like, yeah. He's like, I didn't want to do this in front of them, but I found something out. You can like actually walk on it. And I was like, dude, I don't know how you found that out, but you definitely can't step in the bog. I've seen it happen already. He's like, no, try. And he like goes and he like is running down the bog, like on the actual bog, not on the boards. And as he's coming back, he just sinks all the way up to his chest. And I'm just sitting here like, like I'm still like 16 at the time or 17, I forgot exactly where, but I'm just sitting there just like he's like 18 years older than me, and I'm just like, all right, dude, hold up one sec. I run back, I pull up the box stick.
Oh no.
I just pull him out of the bog with him, and he gets out. And he's totally fine, like his shoes were tight enough, nothing got lost, but like he just sank into the bog, and I just ran, grabbed the bog stick out, and like I knew this would come in handy one time.
So if I may, I'm sure he had a slight panic that like when you ran off, you just,
one second,
not knowing when you were
gone.
gonna be back, where you were doing, what you were doing, how long it was gonna be. Meanwhile, I can just picture him going, help.
So for those that don't know, a bog is literally created. So it's a kettle bog in this particular camp, and how it's created is basically an iceberg comes, like scoops out a ton of dirt, and then just stops, and then melts, and then sinks. So there's literally just like a bowl of glacier water essentially, and then any rainwater that collects over the years, and there's no water that goes out. There's only water that goes in. No water out besides evaporation. So like it's literally like muck and sediment and all sorts of stuff that's been sitting there since the ice age. So like this water, if you put your hand in it, like you're instantly covered in slime. Like it's just black. Like the bog stick that Colin's talking about, like that thing, when you bring it out, your hands smell so bad from pulling this thing out. Like, it is awful. I know that a couple guys when I was at camp went swimming in the bog. Like, they literally like got life vests and just went swimming out in the middle of the bog. And yeah, they said that their skin got very tingly after about 5-10 minutes of swimming in the bog, because all this stuff stays there and it actually becomes acidic. Like, it's literally the same acidity as about orange juice. So, like, in the plain open water, you're basically swimming in orange juice. So it's like cutting all the oils and whatnot off your skin. And then, yeah, the muck itself is pretty disgusting. Technically, if you fell through, you could swim down and then swim over to the opening and then pop back up. But, yeah, that is same for me, because it's kind of like a giant sponge floating on water. And, yeah, that would be disgusting.
Yeah, and if I may, just to give some perspective, the bog stick that goes down is, I believe, like 12 feet tall. And
it's basically it's the longest stick they can find at the time.
Yeah, so if you sink down, you don't know where the end could be.
Right? It's all like super dense too.
Exactly. If I may, there was a story kind of going off of that actually happened last year, Colin. You probably remember it. We had this CIT at camp who he was doing a speech, the bog speech. And when you get out to where this opening is that Kyle is talking about, where this big lake is, there's a couple like planks put out that you can actually walk out into the bog a little ways. It's a little bit past where this huge stick is sunk in. And out there's a lot of just like grass, that really tall grass. So the CIT walked out there and he's like, all right, you've got to be careful, because though I may be on a platform here, one step off of this platform and you could sink, and you don't know how far down you could go. But don't worry, the platforms are really stable. And just to demonstrate, I'm going to jump. So the CIT like starts jumping and jumping and jumping. And then all of a sudden,
breaks through.
Boom, you just don't see him anymore. Like, and I wasn't there at the time, but I just heard from, the adults that everybody had thought that he had just gone down, like all the way down. Because it was like he was at a full standstill height, and then he jumped up, and then boom. Well, it turns out the CIT really just ducked down for effect, and the tall grass covered him, so he was still on the platform. But he convinced everybody in the entire group that he had gone straight down into the bog.
That's pretty good. If you can do that every time.
That was pretty good. Oh, yeah, he did it every time, except the thing with him is he kind of took it to the extreme. So each time he did it, he got more and more crazy with it, to the point where, like, he went down, completely doused his uniform with the water from the bog so that he appeared wet, took sphagnum moss and just draped it all over his body, like somehow found a way to loop back through the through the bog without anybody knowing, to appear by the entrance of the bog. So like there was the guy, the leader at the time of the building, we call them directors, like leading all this entire group back because he knows what's up. But the group's like, dude, he just fell into the block. He's like, don't worry about it, he'll be back. And so he took the entire group back up to the stairs where the CIT was just covered head to toe in sphagnum moss, and was like, guys, you will not believe the journey I went through. It's like, he kind of took it a little too far, and we had to put the kibosh on that after that, because he had scouts literally thinking that he had just gone like 30 feet under and never came up. So, Colin, you probably remember that story too.
Actually, no, I haven't heard it.
Oh no. Yeah.
So the other thing I brought up for these guys to potentially talk about is any funny stories we have about each other. And I don't know if you guys would like to go through that. I know you guys have. We're gonna have a shorter episode this week because these guys got to go to a movie with mommy. But
that's right.
One story I have is about Kody. I'll save the gold one for when if we get Dad on the podcast at some point in time. But this one's about the same caliber. My dad had just recently installed a screen door in our kitchen. Before there were some just windows there, like smaller windows. So my dad took out the section of the wall and put in the sliding glass door. And Kody, I don't know how old Kody was, maybe like 12, like something like that. But like when my dad was done, Cody's like, I don't get it. And I was like, what do you mean? Like I don't get it. What's it for? And my dad goes on to explain that, Kody, it's so you can see at the outside. And Cody's like, oh, okay. And Dad's like, oh, here, come look. So look at this, look at the glass. So the door's closed. Look at the glass. See what it looks like outside. And then my dad opens it. See how it's out there. See how it's the same. Yeah. So it takes it outside and puts it on the glass. It projects it onto the screen, so it looks the same. So Kody is convinced that the sliding glass doors are like a projected screen of some sort, like a TV showing the outside. So my dad's like, see this? Now see this. And Cody's like, oh. It's like, oh my God, Kody.
If I may, I was pretty gullible.
Was?
Okay, maybe still am.
This is the same guy that in college he had a loft that he purchased or rented or whatever for his bed, and so he had his loft up, and then eventually he got an RA job halfway through the year. So he's like, oh, I don't want the loft anymore. So he goes asks the guys to return the loft. And in the meantime, the whole family pretty much come up and help him move into his new room for being an RA. And we had the loft all tucked behind the door, completely out of the way. And the guys wanted $50 to pick up the loft early or something like that. So Kody goes and just pays them. It's like, Kody, why would you give them $50 to pick up the loft when it's literally tucked behind your door doing nothing?
Yeah, that wasn't exactly the greatest decision on my end either.
Have you had to do any car work lately? You might want somebody to double check the numbers.
Yeah, no kidding. No kidding.
My
shining moment.
I'll save Cody's very first Green Bay Packer game story for my dad. That's a solid one.
That's a classic.
That's about as good as it gets.
Okay. Well, I have a story for each of you, but I know. I'll start with Kollen. One of the greatest stories.
It just goes downhill. Sorry, if I may. It just goes downhill. I go to Kody. Kody goes to Kollen. Kollen, I don't know what you're gonna do, but you're pretty screwed there.
But the best story that I have of Kollen was the time where he fell asleep on the couch, and this was back in elementary school. I was about in middle school at the time, and Kollen had fallen asleep early. Like, he just had a long day and was out. So I and my kind of a light bulb went on, and it was about winter time, about this time of year. So by 4:00, it was already dark. So I decided, what would be a great prank? If I just woke up Kollen and told him we were going to be late for school. and this was I think by the time I decided to put this plan on, it was around 8:00 at night. So I'm like, oh, this is perfect. I can convince him that it's 8:00, 8:30 in the morning, and the sun just hasn't come up yet. So I go and I get our backpacks ready. I get everything staged. I get dressed how I would going to school, get my coat on, and then I'm like, oh, it's on. So I just go up and I just shake him vigorously. I'm like, Kollen, we've got to go. We are so late for school, man. Mom and Dad left. I overslept. We've got to go now. And Kollen's half in a daze, still just trying to get his bearings. He's like, what? I can't. I'm like, Kollen, we have no time to talk. Here's your backpack. Get it on you right now. Here's your coat. Get it on you right now. So there Kollen is, an arm in his jacket, arm on, and I'm hurrying him out the door. He looks at the clock. Kody, it's 8:30. I'm like, in the morning, the sun's not up yet because it's just winter. Don't question it.
It's winter in Wisconsin.
Go. Exactly. So I get him out the door. We go down the block. We almost cross the street when I'm like, Kollen, we've got to go back. He's like, Kody, we're so late. No, Kollen, I forgot something. We have got to go back. I need this. It was something about a project or something. He's like, we're late. The bell already rang. We've got to go now. I'm like, no, Colin, we need to go back. I need this. So we walk back in, and like, I just take off my backpack, take off my coat, and just lay on the couch. And he's like, Kody, why are you laying down? What did you forget? We've got to go now. I'm like, Colin, I just want you to know it's 8:30 at night. School's not until tomorrow.
Thanks for the couch.
We can kick back and relax. It was one of those things where I just wanted to see how far I could take it, but didn't want to walk all the way to school.
I took it far enough where I was convinced I could have gone all the way, but I didn't want to walk that far.
Got to the block, called it good, went back in. So that was my Colin story. And your story is how we abused our poor guinea pig.
Oh no, Pinky, poor Pinky. It was a hamster.
Pinky. Hamster, excuse me. So we had this hamster named Pinky, and it was a great hamster. He lived
No, it wasn't.
Like
it bit all the time.
Okay, he bit all the time. So in hindsight, just so you guys know, a little bit of foreshadowing, that little tyke had it coming. He had it coming.
Do not leave 8 and 7 and 9-year-olds alone with a hamster. that's the moral of this story.
So to give you guys a little bit of substance behind this, the way our house is set up is we have a stairwell that goes up to the second floor. However, picture our stair as an L, where you go up one level, there's like a small little, 4x4 landing. Then you go up another set of steps. Well, Kyle and I, there's
also the hallway right at the top. So there's like a wood hallway right at the top, and we'd like play there all the time. We'd set up like Army Men or whatever. We'd play in this hallway all the time.
Yeah. So Kyle and I, we also love Ninja Turtles, like so much so that we had.
It wasn't quite a wee thing. It was more of a you thing.
Okay. I really love Ninja Turtles, and I had like a car essentially. It was called the Battle Shell. Super cool.
Yeah.
It was like a turtle-mobile, and you could put your guys in it, and the top came off. Anyway, so Kyle and I were playing around, and I think we had Pinky out, and he was just in his little hamster ball. And we're like, oh my gosh, it'd be awesome. Let's put Pinky in the Battle Shell, and we'll like push him around. And so we take out Pinky from his hamster ball, open up the top, put him in, and snap down the top. So this hamster can't go anywhere. So I'm sure he's thinking in his mind right now, I am so screwed. Like, there was nothing. And then Kyle and I just got on a mean streak. We're like, what would be funny? Let's push the Battle Shell and Pinky down the steps. That'll be great. There's seatbelts in this thing. You're great. We're like, no. So I don't know why we did it, but we just thought it would be funny, And so we backed it up to like the wooden landing that we had on the very top, like all the way back as far as you could go into our
good 10, 12 feet.
A good 10, 12 feet. And we're just like, all right, Pinky, here we go. 3, 2, 1. And we just shoved this poor hamster in the shell down the stairs. And all you hear is boop, 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 smacks into the wall at the landing. And he just keeps going. Like, he bounces off the wall and then goes down the second flight of steps. Like, boom, 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 boom. So this poor hamster is probably concussed out of his mind by this point. We run down the steps, pick him up, open up the shell. Like, he's doing circles in this shell. Like,
poop everywhere.
Clearly, there's poop everywhere. So we totally just gave our hamster a concussion. And the best part of that was, the darn hamster still lived to be like 12 or 15 years old. He didn't die.
It wasn't 12 or 15 years old. But like, as far as hamsters
go,
he lived forever.
Ridiculous. He lived forever. He survived at least a good 4 or 5 years after that ordeal. So it didn't kill him. We did not kill that hamster.
The hamster maybe had a little bit of CTE, but didn't kill him.
Yeah, he never really wanted to go back into his hamster ball after that one. He was perfectly content with staying in his cage.
I think that started because, like, putting the hamster in the mobile, great idea. I think we started by, like, one of us on each side of the hallway, and we were just pushing him back and forth between each other. And then I think
Yeah.
you were on the stair end, and you like didn't catch him or like missed him or something, and then he went down the stairs.
Either way, we traumatized that poor hamster after that. He was never quite the same.
All right,
Yeah.
Colin, what do you got?
Okay, well, again, you didn't really specify, so I did nice memories and not the stuff that was long.
Colin, we're going for internet content here. It's gotta be good.
All right, here you go. So one day I was really young, and I just hear this noise going on downstairs, and I'm walking down, and I'm just like, I can't get to sleep. What is going on? And I just walk down, and there's Kyle. He's might have been first year at college for you, and you were laying down on the couch, and all I could hear was meep meep. I'm a moped over and over again. I think you were stood there.
Might have been. I don't really remember. I think the meep meep I'm a moped thing started like in wrestling. I was in wrestling in high school, and then you don't drink caffeine or soda the entire time you're wrestling. So I think that started when I had my like very first can of soda after wrestling season, and I was wired, like completely and just wired. So I was like literally bouncing off the walls, and like I think it was my senior year too. Cause like, Dad had just got that one like old school moped that was like a legit moped. Like moped stands for motorized pedal bike. So this thing literally, you had to pedal it to start it, and then like pop the clutch, and then it would go. But yeah, so we just got this moped, and I don't know. Yeah, I was all sorts of jacked up on caffeine, being like, meep meep, I'm a moped, like and bouncing off the walls, literally. But if it was freshman year of college, I also might have been drunk and just having a flashback. I didn't really drink until like second semester of freshman year. Oh, hi. Juliana's behind me.
Hi, Juliana.
Hi. Joe just called
Hi.
me. We have one of my coworkers coming, picking up an old TV stand. Yeah, I'll finish my sentence, I suppose. All right, you guys got anything else? Otherwise, I got a closing segment because I know you guys got to get going pretty soon here.
I think I've hit everything.
Now.
What was that, Colin?
You have to go like now.
Okay, so real quick then. Apparently, Sour Patch Kids, the candy, they're making a cereal of a Sour Patch Kids cereal.
Yes, I have heard about this.
So
That can't be healthy.
right, but besides Sour Patch Kids, what other non-cereal things do you think you could make into a cereal, or you'd like to see made into a cereal to try?
Any non-cereal things? I would have to say, my love of hamburgers is quite amazing.
Oh, gross!
So just miniaturize those suckers and put it in a bowl and
like
fill it
Cookie
with
Crisp,
milk.
except sandwiches, like little
Except
burgers, like
sandwiches.
cheeseburgers.
I want to taste the small little burger, and then maybe the exclusive pack comes with like miniature slices of cheese.
Yeah,
Make
it's
like
little cheeseburgers.
Cheeseburger in a bowl with milk. Buns would have to be like the Cookie Crisp crackers.
Yeah, the whole thing would be like a Cookie Crisp.
Exactly.
Or
But I
you're saying
wanna
they're like
taste the
separate
miniature
pieces that you could
burger.
assemble yourself.
That would be awesome. Game changing. Get on this, Kellogg's.
There you go. So yeah, you got the buns that are made out of the Cookie Crisp material. You got the burger that's like maybe little chocolate pieces or something. Or a marshmallow. You could do like Lucky Charm style where like maybe all the toppings are marshmallows.
That
They're just
way,
shaped
any
differently.
season we can switch up that bad boy. Halloween, bam.
MMA. I think we have to. We gotta wrap this up. So I'm gonna end by saying I'd probably do like a Skittles Taste the Rainbow kind of thing.
Skittles,
Like,
that's a good one.
do Skittles and do like like the fruit roll-ups. That might be interesting. And just have like a fruity like kind of rainbowy cereal. That might be interesting.
I like the Skittles idea. Skittles is also a big enough brand name where they might actually be able to do that.
Think so.
There you go, Skittles. Free idea for Skittles. Makes a Skittles cereal.
Bam.
All right,
Skittles and burgers.
I like the
Revolutionary.
cheeseburger's pretty funny too. I can't. Yeah, I'm trying to think of a funny one, but I can't. I know you guys get it going, so maybe next time. All right, but anyhow, that was episode 26 of If I May. Hope everybody enjoyed. A little special Kyle and Bros podcast because Nick and Brent are out. But thank you for listening. We'll be bringing you a new episode every Thursday. Please support us by subscribing, sharing, rate, reviewing, and all that fun jazz. If you want to get in contact with us, DM us on Twitter at Zarubust. And then we'll catch you later. Have a great Thursday.
See ya.